Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd. It's your girl, Maria Park. I am once again inside of my voiceover sound booth doing this. So if this fan is bothering you, it's just really hot in here. So hopefully it's not getting into my mic, but it could be. We are here to talk about RWBY, Ice Queendom, episode 12, the final episode. I'm so sad. I have gotten so attached, and I know this has everything to do with the voice actors and honestly a little bit of the character design, the reinvention of our characters from the original RWBY series. But I've gotten so attached to these girls, and even though I know the dub for this is coming out, I think Crunchyroll and Rooster Teeth are going to start putting the dub on their channel on the 26th. And I don't mind the dub, obviously. Seeing the dub trailer, it was so weird for me. It was like two different worlds colliding, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. I'm having a lot of issues around that. But this was a simple episode. It was called Best Day Ever. It is pretty much the closure of our past 11 episode arc of Ice Queendom. We do have a lot of character development. We've had a lot of character development throughout this entire series, which is another reason I like Ice Queendom so much, because we get to see into the minds of these characters more than we ever did in the original version that Rooster Teeth puts out weekly or monthly or whenever we're getting volume 9, 2023. But like I just really appreciate that they took the time to really flesh it out a little bit more. Because when you go into watching the regular volumes, even though it's not really not canon, but it's not really canon. It's kind of like midway canonical. I don't know. I don't know how they're classifying it, but just from what happened in the events and what they were saying in this episode, it's really interesting how they went from the first 3 episodes, which are very much in the canon, to this episode, which could actually be in the canon, and then everything in between 4 and to 11, it's its own thing. So it's like actually having a canon story with a little side story that we never got to get in RWBY in the middle of it. So basically it starts off with the girls all journaling and writing letters, like Weiss is writing to Winter, which I thought was awesome because I was really worried that they didn't have the same relationship that they had in the original version or the Rooster Teeth version. And we have RWBY writing her dad, which is interesting. And all of them are just writing about each other and what they've, all the stuff that they've learned. Weiss basically says that RWBY is a talented huntress and she's okay with her being leader. And she's like complete 180 to where she was earlier in episode 3. And of course, you have RWBY just basically assessing everything. She still doesn't know if she's the greatest leader, but she knows she wants to work with her team, and she loves that. She doesn't understand the heart and the mysteries of the heart of man, basically, which is completely RWBY. So that's completely on par for that character. Then we go into like the little things of the characters interacting since they left Weiss's dream world. So we have first Weiss and Blake again having this little conversation where Blake goes off on her own again, doing her whatever, and Weiss is like, why aren't you understanding to come to us? And Blake's like, okay, I understand. I need to trust you. I just didn't think if I talked to you you understand or you would really care. And Weiss is like, do you know how infuriating it is that you think I don't care about you, basically? And I love the banter with Weiss and Blake because they are the two characters that I think I wanted to be BFFs. In the whole universe, I always wanted Weiss and Blake to be BFFs. If there was a romance thing, again, I'm not shipping anybody, but it's obvious that Blake and Yang were going to be a thing. They pretty much are in the original series, and of course, Weiss and RWBY. I actually prefer Weiss and RWBY over Oscar and RWBY, and that's not me being a White Rose shipper or anything like that. I just don't understand the chemistry between Oscar and RWBY. Really, I don't understand the chemistry between Oscar and anybody because he's Ozpen, and it's just the idea of it is creepy to me. So that's a whole other story. But so yeah, I really like that they kind of established this whole camaraderie with Weiss and Blake, which makes sense. Can you see? You basically see it in the original series. It's just that they do a lot of character growth in this short arc that they should have done in the actual volumes. So, and for me, I feel like only like a semester or half a semester of that is actually, I think it is a semester. I feel like all these events were like the first few weeks of school, and then like maybe we're not seeing the rest of the semester, and where we're seeing them journaling and all this stuff is actually coming back from break, which I'm sure is what's happening because they talk about Jun. So Jun is training with Team Juniper because he wants to protect everyone. Completely canon with what Jun does in the actual series in the volumes, the RWBY volumes, and Pierre is trading him. And really, the whole team is. And Nora's like, I don't know why he's doing this. He's so weak. Blah blah blah. How's he going to protect us? Yada yada yada. And I'm like, um, I thought it was interesting that they keep talking about, and this is probably all foreboding because we know what happens. Had we not had the RWBY series already, then this would all be kind of like, huh, what is Jun? Is he a Super Saiyan? What the hell is it? What is he actually? Because they keep alluding, of course, to RWBY, which we know is because of her silver eyes. And then with Jun, we know that his semblance actually is that he is an aura booster for others. He basically is like, he's a battery. That's basically what he is. He has an almost unlimited supply of aura that he can share with others to boost up their semblances. So in retrospect, it's not that he doesn't have a semblance, but his is more a reactive semblance and not an active semblance, if that makes sense. So I definitely love how they keep calling that out. Oh, Jun doesn't have this and this, and they're like, he's actually one of the, if you really think about it, one of the most OPs, in their whole universe. So I love that they're alluding to that, and I love that Ozpen's always saying, in the heat of battle, you never know what kind of power is going to come out of you. And Sion says the same thing. And what's so interesting about Sion is we never see her again in the original series. Now that could change. Maybe Rooster Teeth is going to, if we get volume 10, we'll be like, let's bring back this character, Nightmare Grim and blah, blah, blah. Because we never saw that in the original RWBY. But it's interesting because like they'd send her off and it's almost like she's like the underground character. She's, you know what I mean? If this is Sailor Moon, she's an outer senshi, but an outer senshi doing her thing from the shadows, or ninja. So like we don't ever see Sion again. At least we don't in the normal canon universe. And again, this is kind of in between. So I'm really curious if we're ever going to get a reference to her now that this character has been developed, if this is going to cross over into Rooster Teeth's RWBY. But anyway, so Jen tells her goodbyes, and she says she has lots of hope for the group, especially, and RWBY says, she can't wait to get stronger and work with her. And she's like, I have high hopes for you. And I'm like, The shadiness comes with Ozpen. Ozpen actually looks more devious and shady in this version. And I know it's the animation style and them focusing on his eyes more. He just looks devious as hell. Honestly, he looks like a sociopath sometimes when he's talking. And when he calls RWBY and Blake into the office, he wants to see them separately. So he calls RWBY in because he's trying to question her to see if she remembers using her eyes. That's it. He knows about the silver eyes, but RWBY doesn't know about her own eyes because, she hasn't met Maria yet and she hasn't done it yet. So she doesn't, or as far as she knows, she has no memory of doing it. But I mean, it's interesting that he's so, like, if you look at the demeanor when he's talking to her and he's like, you don't got, so you don't remember crap. Cool. All right, cool. We know you can get into your powers, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, it's just like, what is happening, And then he calls Blake and he's like questioning her because he knows that she was with the White Fang. He knows, he's not stupid. And he's trying to get her to just come clean. And she's like, I don't want to get suspended. I want to live my best life here and start over. And, I'm not part of the White Fang, so I don't want to be associated with the White Fang. All of these things that she is trying to get again. So she doesn't want to come clean to Ozpen, and Ozpen is giving her this look. It is like so conniving and devious looking. He just looks, I don't know. I could not be around Ozpen, honestly. I really can't. I don't, he bothers me in the show, but he really bothers me in this one because of how they drew him and the voice actor for him just sounds so much more mysterious and conniving. And like he has a secret that you don't know if he could be a good guy or a bad guy. So even though we know who Ozpen becomes or his story, should I say, because we've seen the original volumes, but like if you really were to if this was the only thing you saw of RWBY, you really would be questioning if this is the villain of the story and he's just hiding in plain sight. That's basically how Ozpen is to me in this. So I was in my feelings when he was talking to Blake, and Blake was kind of like, I don't have anything else to say to you. Can you like, so she's like, can I go? She was all the skittish cat trying to evade. I love how Weiss was the one that waited for her because they were all going to meet up at the cafe, and Weiss was the one that like stayed behind and waited for her to get done. Again, fortifying their friendship. I love their friendship. I'm hoping, especially we see more in volume 9 because I really love how they interact with each other, how they accept each other, especially with the amount of trauma that technically both of their, people, and I'm saying people because I'm saying White Fang, not Faunus, have caused, each other. 'Cause it's a lot of trauma, and for them to, like, bridge that gap, and we keep seeing them, shaking hands, it's just I don't know, I love that. I love that aspect of the story, so but I love how, Weiss is also, like, because Blake was talking, and Blake told Weiss what happened with Ozpen, and she's like, "So, I think Ozpen suspects that you were once White Fang," and she's like, "Let me just clarify, you're not studying here to take everything you know back to the White Fang, so you can basically, become an even more powerful, White Fang terrorist." And she's like, "No." And so she assures Weiss she is here to change her life and to fight for justice, basically, and against and be the best huntswoman ever. And so Weiss is like, "Okay, well, your teammates are not gonna let you be expelled." And so Weiss is like, "Nobody's going to tell on you," basically. And so, when Ruby and Yang are waiting for the cafe, Ruby's basically telling Yang, "I can do this and this, and I don't need your help." And I think Yang is trying to play on the "you need to be more independent." She's seeing it now. You need to be more independent, Ruby, because after what happened in the dream world, I mean, Ruby kind of proved herself that she can take care of herself. So Yang is kind of pulling back a little bit, and she did it in the guise of making Ruby say that she wanted to prove to Yang that she could do all this grown-up stuff. So I love that she's doing that. But then Sun comes, and he's talking about his team, which we know his team's coming, which I think is funny. But she's talking about his dashing, good-looking team members and how they're gonna be coming soon. And we have, Blake and Weiss show up, and Weiss says, "Well, you can sit with us," and they're all like, "What? You want to sit with a Faunus boy?" And she's like, "I never said I didn't want to sit with a Faunus boy. You guys said that." And so they're all like, and she sits there, and she basically tells Sun, "You are not going to tell about Blake being part of the White Fang, or I'm going to report you to the cops for being a stowaway." And I'm like, she was going to blackmail him for Blake, and I thought that was adorable. And he was like, "You don't have to blackmail me. I just won't do it. I mean, I'm friends with her." And I thought that was amazing. I mean, that whole thing was funny to me. All of that was funny. And then we have like there's also moments that were very cute. Like there's a moment where we see Weiss bring Ruby coffee. And it's, again, homage to the first time she did it. And then you see so Yang has been trying to get Blake to play on the scroll. I guess they're playing games. And she keeps turning it down. So then we see Blake bring like a whole stack of books and dump it down for Yang. And I'm like, Bumblebee, I got you. I see what you're doing there. Um, but yeah, their whole interaction, the conversations they're having about being a team and all that, and Weiss making the comment saying, "I thought Pyrrha would find somebody more responsible." So she's still looking down on Jun, even though Jun was, part of the reason she's back to herself. But that's just Weiss. It wouldn't be Weiss if she didn't put Jun down a little bit. And I love how Ruby was like, "Oh, you still want to be partners with Pyrrha? You know what? I'm going to build up Team Ruby so much that and then you're going to try and give again. I'm not going to let you." And she's like, "When the hell did I say I was trying to leave?" And then they start glaring at each other, and then they bust out laughing. And I thought that was really funny. So yeah, the team is definitely Team Ruby. They actually act more like Team Ruby than they do in the original volumes now, which I know happened very quickly for a lot of people, the amount of episodes that we have. But I mean, I'm here for it. So it is what it is. Of course, we got our epic food fight. I wish we had gotten more of it. I really do. They changed some of it up choreography wise. I mean, we still had initially the same scope, but Team Juniper did not do as well against Team Ruby as they were doing in this version. But then I did notice in this series that everybody's semblances and abilities were completely more advanced and where they should have been based on their like origin trailer, like the white trailer, the red trailer, than they are in the volumes. Because it seems like we had these really badass fight scenes. We saw in volume 1 of RWBY a little bit at the beginning, in the middle when they were fighting Roman, like later on in the season. But then like they kept getting their asses handed to them all the time. And I'm like, this team does not seem like the team that will get their asses handed. You're going to have to work for it with this team. And again, I don't know why that choice was made to make them actually live up to their reps. But I mean, it's a thing because, yeah, Nora is a very strong character. She should have been able to knock Weiss back, and she didn't. And it's because Weiss is a very powerful character. Blake is a very powerful character. All these, like even seeing Yang hit those watermelons, I mean, at the speed she was hitting them, I mean, to me, that was like OP. So they even and look at Ren. Ren is a very powerful character too, but not as aggressive unless he's angry than he is in the original volumes. And he was him and Nora doing basically the way they were teaming up was almost the same, like split second that, Yang and Blake have with each other, because they all know, they basically can read each other when they fight, and they know what they're going to do, and it's so flawless. And like Nora and Ren do fight together, but it's almost like they're defending each other, so they don't have that whole skill set. But I mean, it's like instant in this. And I mean, I really think Team Juniper can give Team RWBY a run for their money for sure, even without Pyrrha, who, rest her soul, if they keep to the canon and we do get another season, which they haven't said anything about yet, of this style of animation, we know Pyrrha probably is going to be a goner unless it goes completely off canon and they do their own thing and Pyrrha somehow miraculously survives the Follow Beacon. I don't know. If they do a Follow Beacon, like I said, it's so easy to assume that because of how Ozpen was being in this, that we are still on track for the canon stuff. This is just a micro moment, a micro arc in the whole canon universe. So I really would love to know how they would polish up the rest of these seasons in this style. Because I think some of the stupid choices that were made in the original volume probably would not be made in this. And I think it would be better for it. I think I would love to see Cinder and Ruby's fight in real time in this version of the anime versus what we got in the volumes. And even if RWBY was defeated, I think that fight would have gone a completely different way, and it probably would have taken a lot longer. And to be fair, though, I would love to see how they would have amped Cinder up, because Cinder's already kind of OP as a fighter in the original volume. I would love to see how she is in the animated version. Like, there's so many things. Like, I would love to see Emerald and Mercury, like all of them in this style. And we didn't really get to see that because we were focused on our core team. So I really am pushing. I really would like to have another season, another arc, basically dealing with everything, like with Cinder and Emerald and Mercury pretending to be students and infiltrating the school and the Follow Beacon arc. I would love to see that. Will we see it? I don't know. Because again, they have not announced anything at all. I'm used to them. Well, to be fair, if you look at anime like Yashahime and some of the other ones, they don't really announce if they're going to have a new season for like a few weeks after the anime ends. So maybe they'll do the same thing here. They do have a lot of RWBY projects coming out, so maybe I don't know. But I mean, I would love to have a second season to this because I freaking loved this series. I loved it. I really did. I don't agree with some of the people that were saying on some of the boards that it was too slow and there was filler. I didn't find any filler in any of this. This was all straight character development and it's stuff we should have gotten in the original arc and didn't. And so I'm really happy with how this played out. And I'm very happy that Team RWBY and Team Juniper are very strong teams. And, all of the little issues aren't just gone. I mean, Blake still is pretending she was with the White Fang, so that's still a thing. We're going to have a lot of stuff, a lot of drama ahead for these girls. But now that they've established themselves as a team, it is a lot easier to believe going forward that they have each other's backs than it was in the first volume of the RWBY series. And that's just my opinion. Because, I love RWBY. I love my girls. But, I just had to put that out there that is definitely something that was, something you had to swallow and suspend your disbelief because the show moves so fast, when it first came out. And I know this is I want to say this came out in 2013, but I could be off on my numbers. And I know that they've definitely come a long way since then. But, I mean, if you really think about the original Monty Oum story, that I feel like his vision for that show was probably a little bit different from what it became. So that is my opinion. I don't know. But all in all, it was a great show. Hello, Godzilla. I see you in here. I'm going to look at your comments in a second. I also see Kenny Lowe's in here, and please don't be in here trolling. Kenny is a troll, guys. He's just a troll. I kind of doubt they would bring her up again in the main series. I wish they would, though. I think Shen would be interesting. That's a new semblance. And I mean, I know we meet a lot more, interesting characters in Volume 7 and 8, especially that have interesting semblances. But I mean, I really wish that we had more insight to this whole Nightmare Girl. Like when she was explaining her semblance, she was like, I used to be able to just read what was in people's hearts, but then it expanded. And it was like, what? I encountered the Nightmare Grim and my stuff went kind of like literally legit OP. And I was able to capture them. And I'm like, oh, okay. Which is again is an Easter egg towards a lot of them getting upgrades in their power. So, and we know this. We absolutely know that is a thing. So that's what it is. I'm still trying to remember. I know that Blake used clones of herself when she had coins in the dream. I still don't know if that's her semblance. in this, like, this update. I mean, that is her semblance in general. She can clone herself, but, like, I don't know. I don't remember, and I'm gonna have to go back and really look when she was fighting, and maybe it's because we didn't see her fight outside of the dream as much, outside of the, them getting their teams. I don't remember her using it. So if you guys remember that, let me know, because I don't remember her using that ability. I would love to know what that ability looks like, because it looked like she kinda staggered, like, almost like she was teleporting different places, but that's more Ruby's thing, so, speed and, like, not really teleporting, but it kinda looks that way sometimes, but, yeah, I'm really curious to see, you know, what Blake's semblance looks like in this animation style, because I guess I just missed it. That's how I feel anyway. I feel like she's more of a very skilled, almost genius combat, especially hand-to-hand combat, huntress, but I know she has that semblance. I'm very curious to see what that looks like. Um, Not looking forward to if they do this, Yang losing her arm, though. I think it'll be a lot more graphic in this version than it was even in the original volume, so I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't wanna see that part. That makes me sad, and seeing how she changes is gonna be interesting. Again, if you guys haven't seen the dub trailer, though, for this series, I did post it on the community tab. I'm trying to really get into that. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like, and I know that, again, to be fair, these actresses have been doing these roles. They originated these roles. I know there was a Japanese dub for this as well. I haven't seen it or heard it, so I don't know what the Japanese one sounded like originally for the volumes. I only know this, Ice Queendom, but I don't know what it is. But after hearing how passionate the Japanese say you were for this, and then hearing, you know, our original voice cast and the dub doing these lines, it almost feels like a different show for me. I don't know. And you guys have to let me know in the comments once you listen to the dub trailer, and then if you have Crunchyroll or you have I think it's called First. That Rooster Teeth's website is called First or something like that when you subscribe. Whoever, I would probably do Crunchyroll, honestly, because they actually post better than Rooster Teeth does with their own products. I don't know why. But just let me know what you think of the dub, like in terms of inflection and things like that, because I love Weiss's dub voice, but I really feel like she is not as emotive in this trailer. And I'm not trying to judge completely, because again, this is just a trailer. I haven't seen the episodes. That's only the pilot, I guess, the episode 1. So, could be trying to come to terms, because it is I believe it's a different dubbing style that they're used to. I want to say that with the volumes, they record their voices and then animate them. This one is straight anime ADR. So, and as somebody who's done it, I know that it is very different in terms of matching flaps than it is recording yourself naturally and then having somebody just come behind you and animate you. So could be something like that, a learning curve. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm just curious, but the dub for me just it just almost seems so different. Like Ruby's voice actress, her Sayori, I forgot her last name. She is so adorable, and she sounds innocent and naive and wholesome. And sometimes Lindsay's voice for Ruby cracks, and so it goes from, like, very young to almost, like, mid-20s level for Ruby, depending on the emotion, and it's always a little off-putting to me considering the character's age. So, I don't know. But, again, this is just me. It's just me, and then Yang's actress always sounds hyper, like, when she's excited, like she had too many Red Bulls. So, I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. That's just my opinion, guys. Just take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, I hope the animation gets a massive improvement over the past 2 episodes of this show. I actually didn't mind it. I really didn't. And then remember, if you think about it, one of the things I know that Rooster Teeth hated was people always compared theirs to like a webtoon, and they were like, "No, we're an anime," and I'm like, "You're not an anime." I really enjoyed this animation style. I just did. I definitely love the fact that their hair is connected, because the one thing that always cracked me up is when they would run, and like their hair is like their hair is here, right? And then like half of their hair would be cut completely, like it's almost separated from them, but yet it's still running with them and flowing. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, so it's really hard. And then it comes the texture of Yang's hair, which is interesting as a curly girl. When you have curly hair, I get you can have frizzy hair. Or my hair is actually curly and wavy. So with her, it's so funny to me because she'll have these curls or whatever, but they curl into like this, like, it almost looks like her hair goes from being straight into like a mop at the bottom. And I'm like, how is that even a thing? You know, like, I don't know any texture on earth that looks like that. Like, so yeah, it's just I do love the fact that their hair looks like a hair. They blink. You know, I don't know. That's just me. Again, just putting it out there, guys. Just putting it out there. Um, I will say volume 8, I think, got a little bit better in terms of animation because they did change their animation style. So I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to take a dump on the original RWBY. I'm just saying that there a learning curve and there was definitely learning pains and growing pains in that process. So, but yeah, I didn't have a problem with the animation. Let's see. Kenny is a troll. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, so my closing thoughts on episode 12. Again, I think that this is a very good kind of resolution connective episode that could connect itself to the Beacon arc or the Fall of Beacon arc. If they want to do another season, so they basically place themselves in a perfect position to do it. And it's very open-ended because, you know, again, we as RWBY fans know what's going to happen. They don't, but we do. It's just how they get there, if it's going to be the same, you know, journey, or if they're going to take liberties, or if we're just going to do another damn arc. Maybe the next arc will be, because we keep talking about Blake not coming to terms with, you know, basically revealing she was with the White Fang and not trusting that they won't kick her out and expel her. Maybe we'll do a White Fang Blake arc next. Maybe this will be a series that does side stories only and just has little connectivity where we see that, hey, this is actually set semi-canonically in the same world. I don't know. But I mean, I'm here for it. So that is that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about RWBY. I loved it again. Very cool series. Really want a season 2. And there's another anime that I am going to be doing a review on, which will not happen until next week because the last episode, I think, airs next Saturday. And then I'm going to do a whole season overview. So be on the lookout for that. But I have set in my community tab, guys, my Stargirl season 3, episode 3 review, as well as I watched all of Fate Winx Saga season 2 on Friday. And I wanted to give everybody the weekend so I can do a spoiler review on Monday so we can talk about all of the things that are Fate Winx Saga season 2. So if you are into that, and I know a lot of people didn't watch it because, you know, of course, it went very much against grain in season 1. A lot of people were saying colorism issues, which I guess I can kind of see. And, you know, it is its own thing. It's basically the multiverse version of Winx. It's not the cartoon. There are similar things, but there are very not similar and very we took liberties on this show things in this series. But it is very engaging. There's a lot of corruption, politics, dark magic, you know, secrets, lots of stuff to talk about. So, and we got a lot of kind of exposition on some things in season 2, as well as they brought in Flora. So we have some things to talk about with Winx season 2. Go ahead and set that in the community tab so you can see all the times that we're going to be talking about all of the things tomorrow. So 1 p.m. should be our Stargirl season 3, episode 3 review. And then 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for me is when we're going to talk about Fate Winx Saga season 2. So make sure you check it out because it should be fun. Yes, Kenny, Stargirl, stop it. I will also be doing my She-Hulk review. There really wasn't a lot to it, so I don't know. I may actually end up doing it in a video because for me, it was a cute episode, but it really wasn't. There wasn't a ton of stuff for me, especially as somebody who read the comics. They can really just sit here and do a long 30-minute or hour stream about. So I'm not going to do much with that. So more than likely that is going to be a video that I'm going to do, and I'll probably put that out tomorrow or Tuesday. So there's that. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell, guys. We are at almost a 30-minute mark on this wonderful Sunday. I have a lot of voiceover stuff, hence why I am in my voiceover booth. Thank you for hanging out with me, though, because, you know, sometimes a girl needs a break. But I cannot wait to talk to you guys tomorrow because, again, Stargirl is going to be, I have a lot to say about that, too. So if you're into Stargirl at all, make sure to check it out because we have some Infinity Inc. things to discuss that keep being dropped into this series sneakily, and I think it's awesome. So we will talk about that as well. All right, guys, I'm out of here, but if it is day for you, have a good day. If it is evening for you, have a good evening, and I will see you in my next stream. Bye.